After 17 long years of X-Men films, we've witnessed the end of an era. To Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart, thank you. Logan is the final installation in the Wolverine trilogy of X-Men films directed by James Mangold, and it will be the last time we see Wolverine and Professor Xavier played by Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart. Except in this film, there's an emphasis placed on the fact that they're referred to as Logan and Charles, and rightly so. These aren't the same people we're used to witnessing in the X-Men cinematic universe. Instead, we witness two weathered and vulnerable individuals who have lost almost everything. The film is set in a dystopian future where the X-Men have disbanded and no new mutants have been born in decades. Logan is struggling as Charles' caregiver as they're in hiding due to an incident that Charles caused in the past, until they stumble upon Laura, or X-23. Then they're put in a situation where they have to take care of this little girl while also dealing with their own personal struggles. Guys, this is more than just another superhero or X-Men movie. In fact, I barely consider it one. This is a gripping, emotional story about mortality, family, and destiny, more than it is about the lore of the X-Men. I have to give major recognition to James Mangold, who has given us one of, if not the best directed films in a comic book universe to date. You know, this shouldn't be surprising because he directed Walk the Line and 3:10 to Yuma, but he also directed the Wolverine, so there's that. You know, overall, this is one of the slower Marvel films at just over 2 hours, but not a single minute is wasted. Every scene contributes to the plot or character development in some way. The tone is gritty and raw and far more grounded than previous Marvel films, and there's also a great, meaningful soundtrack, which I appreciated. Superpowers and all that stuff that we've come to know and love are still in this movie, and they're awesome, but they're not the focus, which I thought was a nice change of pace for a franchise so focused on showcasing as many powers as possible. This film is rated R through and through, and good lord is it gory, and is it so great to finally see Wolverine completely unrestricted on the big screen. Yeah, it was kinda weird seeing Patrick Stewart curse on screen, but it worked, and it was actually earned. And honestly, it becomes pretty funny, so yeah, I'm okay with it.
She's 11, I'm fucking 90.
The best part is that this film isn't rated R for the sake of doing so. It absolutely needed to be to do the story and the characters justice. The action in this film is fantastic. It's brutal and violent, and actually essential to the tone besides just being fun to watch. The strongest aspect of this film has to be the incredible Oscar-worthy performances by Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart. We've seen their on-screen chemistry before, but there is a completely different emotional undertone and painful history that these characters are dealing with that we've never been exposed to. Patrick Stewart is downright heartbreaking in this film, but still manages to find an airy lightness and humor that makes him even more sympathetic than before. His character and situation are going to deeply resonate with a lot of people, including myself. With that said, Hugh Jackman is the most emotionally invested and comfortable with the character of Logan than he's ever been before. He's bitter, depressed, lost, and vulnerable, but he's still empathetic and sharp. No pun intended. The amount of detail and nuance is just heartbreaking. You watch Logan struggle to put clothes on his old beaten body, you see his hands have a tired shake to them, and he even needs glasses just to use a phone. There's just so many great character traits. You can tell that both of these characters have been through a lot and are at completely different stages in their lives, which is why the subject of family, or lack thereof, becomes one of the most important recurring themes throughout the film. Logan, like always, doesn't want to get too close to having an actual family, while Charles is focused on the preservation of what they actually have, and it's a powerful dynamic that drives the motivations of both characters forward. The introduction of Laura only emphasizes the strengths, faults, and desires of both characters even more. Speaking of that, Dafne Keen as X-23 did a great job in her first major film debut. She doesn't talk a lot, but I found her physical gaze and her body language to be really impressive and intense. Above all, this little girl was an absolute monster. She was vicious and gory and violent, and man, I'm just excited to see how they use X-23 in the future. Unfortunately, despite everything else being done so well, I've gotta say that this is yet again another Marvel film with a weak villain. Boyd Holbrook as Pierce was fine, but the film never truly invested in him being the greatest threat that Logan must overcome. In fact, he becomes completely eclipsed by a more menacing and interesting character introduced later on. In fact, I felt they should have given the antagonist a tad more screen time to provide an even greater contrast to Logan. Also, a lot of questions are raised in regards to the events that transpired before this film, and although I didn't feel like they needed to outright explain it to us, I did feel that they should have provided a few more allusions to those answers. There are even some additional characters that I didn't recognize or know much about, such as Callahan and Mr. Rice, that I wish the movie would have spent more time explaining and characterizing rather than tossing in a few too many scenes that ultimately derail the main story. But regardless, I was really hoping that they would finally get Wolverine right, and I can confidently say that I was blown away. You can tell that this film was crafted with care and respect for its characters, and that's all I could have asked for. And for all these reasons, I'm going to give Logan a 9 out of 10. So Logan, have you seen it? Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. And while you're at it, let me know if you're okay with them recasting Wolverine. And if you are, let me know who you'd want to see get cast. This should be a fun one. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It truly does mean a lot. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like. And if you want to stick around and watch some more movie reviews, hey, hit subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.